But once it get close to that time, you know what I mean, it's time to go to work, you know? And when we go to work, I know what comes after that.
Well, I see their weakness. That's what I do. You know, we broke the code with with Loma that nobody had ever done. You know, we didn't let him get comfortable in there. You saw that. You know, within like 8 rounds, he didn't know what to do. I did the same thing with Josh Taylor, and we're gonna do the same thing with Shakur.
It's the fight that I've been kind of waiting for my entire life. I didn't have to make this fight. This fight, I could have just stayed at 135 pounds, sat comfortable at 35. I don't feel like no fighter at 135 can beat me. I made this fight happen because I know Teo is one of the guys at 140.
Crawford loses patience at the press conference, clashing with Teofimo Lopez Sr. as he delivers a stern warning, saying Shakur will seriously hurt his son once they're inside the ring.
Last one of them, stump a mud hole in their ass and he gonna be next. Watch.
Teofimo Lopez Sr. responds with confidence, claiming his team has studied Shakur extensively and believes they've uncovered clear weaknesses in his fighting style.
We want a competitive fight. We do this for the fans, you know. Ever since my son started this, you know, I told him, you know, this is entertainment.
Crawford fires back with conviction, warning them that Shakur is extremely difficult to beat because of his elite skill set, sharp ring IQ, calm demeanor, and ability to control fights with ease.
Work of art. You know, the sky is the limit with Shakur. You know, he got the boxing skills and the ability to, you know, do whatever he wants in the ring. You know, and it's going to be very hard to beat Shakur, you know, with the skills that he possesses and the smarts that he has, you know, and given the opportunity, I think he can pose a great threat to everybody in the division, you know, and be the last man standing given the opportunity.
Lopez Sr. insists they won't allow Shakur to get comfortable, predicting he'll fall the same way Lomachenko and other opponents Teofimo has already defeated did before fight night arrived.
Great fight. I want everybody to come and see it. If you can't, you know, just watch it on TV.
You've had to come up with some good game plans over the years to beat some great fighters, Lomachenko, Taylor, among them. How difficult is this man, Shakur Stevenson, to prepare for?
Well, I see their weakness. That's what I do. You know, we broke the code with Loma that nobody had ever done. You know, we didn't let him get comfortable in there. You saw that. You know, within like 8 rounds, he didn't know what to do. I did the same thing with Josh Taylor, and we're gonna do the same thing with Shakur.
All right.
Few tensions boil over as Shakur gets heated at the press conference, confronting Lopez Sr. directly and telling him he has no right to fight on behalf of his son. He snaps back, saying Teofimo has been in tough situations before, even referencing past fights where his son struggled. Voices overlap, emotions flare, and the exchange turns chaotic as accusations fly and tempers rise.
Man, you out of your mind.
Okay.
My son fought without no air. My son fought without no air against Comboses.
You can't fight for your son. You can't fight for your son.
You gonna tell me, man? Come on.
You can't fight for your son.
I bet you gonna quit.
Okay, you gonna...
Behind the scenes, Terence Crawford continues to train closely with Shakur Stevenson, helping sharpen his skills, refine strategy, and prepare intensely for the challenge ahead.
I almost missed that one. Which one? There it go. There it go. There it go. There it go. There it go.
God damn,
There it go,
bro.
He trying to run me into the wall. Y'all didn't see that? He trying. Man, I performed. You know that? I told y'all what I was gonna do. I was gonna come out here and beat his ass every game. And look, he's thinking about saying, let's play again.
Shakur remains locked in on his goal of becoming a champion, sticking closely to the game plan, polishing every detail of his craft, and maintaining strict discipline to ensure peak performance on fight night.
Up to 140, I said, let me get the Ring Magazine champion. Let's fight that guy. Let's fight the guy that's the... All that more pressure stuff don't mean nothing. As long as I'm like locked in and I'm focused on what I'm supposed to be doing, nothing else matters around me. that 4-weight world champion, it means everything to me. That's me separating myself. A lot of these guys that they claim is the guys nowadays, none of them can say that they are a 4-weight world champion. Honestly, for a minute before Devin went and did it, none of them could say they was really 3-weight world champion. So now for me to go to the 4th and the next level is a different type of thing. And a lot of people got to respect me, because at the end of the day, if they don't respect me, they don't got no choice but.
Journalist Henry points to Teofimo Lopez's bout against George Kambosos Jr., explaining that a key weakness in Lopez's style was exposed. While his low lead hand can be useful for disrupting opponents and setting traps, it becomes dangerous when he presses forward aggressively. Kambosos capitalized on this by allowing Lopez to step in and then countering him with sharp, well-timed shots.
It's something that it's not always an issue, but it's something that certain fighters can turn into a weakness for him, and it's something that is a weakness for him when he fights the way he did in this fight. And that is the low lead hand that he has. It's great when you are trying to set things up. It can be really good when you're jabbing because it's out of your opponent's eye line very often. They can't see it coming. But when you're being this aggressive, it simply does not work, in my opinion. And there were multiple times in this fight where George Kambosos just let Teo come to him and core him with powerful, aggressive counter punches. I'd say that Kambosos found his range and his timing very, very quickly in this fight. And I'm just going to show you a couple of moments here in round 1 that really stood out to me where Teofimo Lopez was being exceptionally aggressive. So you can see with this lead hook here that George Kambosos lands as a counterpunch. It's a very, very key shot for anyone who is facing Teofimo Lopez. And I'm just going to break it down for you now. So the thing about Teofimo Lopez is...
Henry highlights a critical moment in round 1 when Kambosos lands a perfectly timed lead hook as a counter, showcasing the danger of Lopez's lunging attacks. Lopez often steps first to load his front foot, then shuffles in with a pendulum step, widening his stance and dropping his hands, even with his chin tucked. The loss of balance leaves him vulnerable. Kambosos exploits this, beautifully checking him with a left hook, slipping away, and later landing a massive overhand right that visibly rattles Lopez and sends panic through.
You would never expect someone to really attack you from that range in boxing, but he does. And the thing about the way he does this is there's usually a bit of a tell. So watch here. What he does is he takes a step first to load that front foot, which then permits the pendulum step. It allows him to shuffle in, and I'll show you what I mean by that as you're watching here. Let me just undo that. 2 small arrows is what I'm looking for. So watch here. Leans on that front foot, and then he goes with the pendulum. Back foot in, lead foot forward, and he lands in this position here. Now you can see the problem with this position here is that his balance is going to be hard to get because his feet are so wide and his hands are low. So whilst his chin is tucked in, that's good. His hands are low. And as he throws, Kambosos has that lead hand ready and waiting. Watch what happens here. He quickly leans back, he fires that check left hook, and he gets out. Beautiful work. Now, the other moment that we need to see from this one is probably the most dramatic moment of his career, where he landed an absolutely huge counter overhand right. And it definitely shocked Teofimo Lopez. It was what caused all the panic in the corner. I don't think he...
Pro Gray believes Shakur Stevenson holds both a mental and technical edge over Teofimo Lopez. While he acknowledges Lopez's explosive athleticism, Pro Gray stresses that raw talent alone isn't enough at the elite level. He notes that Lopez can be inconsistent, flashing brilliance, but struggling to maintain focus throughout an entire fight. Stevenson, by contrast, enters every bout with patience, structure, and discipline. Pro Gray emphasizes Shakur's mental toughness, his ability to stay calm under pressure, adjust quickly, and avoid unnecessary risks. Lopez, he says, can become frustrated or overly aggressive, opening himself up to counters and mistakes. That combination of composure, fight IQ, and technical precision, Pro Gray believes, gives Shakur a decisive advantage.
And Shakur Stevenson, that definitely makes sense. Who do you think is going to win that fight?
I got Shakur for sure. Shakur.
Do you think he wins this comfortably, or do you think it'll be a close fight?
I think he wins it comfortably, yeah. I think he wins it comfortably. I think, Shakur, I think the thing is about Teo is very good athletically, but he's weak-minded. You can see in some fights he's struggling. Teo does struggle. Now he does come up for big fights. Lomachenko, he came up. Josh Taylor, he came up. But a lot of fights, man, he struggles. He does struggle on a whole lot of fights and stuff. Like, I think he looked good. Yeah, he looked good against Barboza. But like I said, for the most part, Teo does struggle. And I think he struggles mentally with a lot of things. But I think with Shakur, I think Shakur's going to break him. I think maybe the first two or three rounds, it might be a close fight. It might be close. It might be 2-1.